In Tehran tonight, Iran's foreign minister has revealed an unexpected diplomatic message, one that passes through Moscow and perhaps signals a fragile pause in one of the Middle East's most dangerous rivalries. Speaking live on Iran's state television, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi disclosed that Russia had relayed a message from Israel, a message stating that Israel is not looking for a new war with the Islamic Republic. According to the minister, the communication reached Tehran through its ambassador in Moscow. Araghchi's revelation adds a fresh twist to the region's already complex web of diplomacy, where back-channel messages often shape outcomes long before any public statement is made. Apparently, 3 or 4 days ago, there was a telephone call between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Russian President Vladimir Putin. The next morning, our ambassador was summoned to the presidency, and the same points were conveyed to us, that Netanyahu emphasized that he had no intention of restarting a war with Iran. The tone of Araghchi's statement was calm, deliberate, but the implications were anything but ordinary. For months, Tehran and Tel Aviv have traded accusations over sabotage, assassinations, and cyber operations. Yet this is the first time since the Gaza ceasefire that an Iranian official publicly referenced a direct message from Israel, even if transmitted indirectly through Moscow. The phone call between Netanyahu and Putin reportedly took place earlier this week, a conversation aimed at avoiding regional escalation following renewed tensions around Syria and Lebanon. The timing is critical. Israel remains locked in a delicate truce with Hamas, brokered under US President Donald Trump's plan, while Iran continues to project itself as the defender of Palestinian resistance. Any misstep could undo months of diplomacy. Analysts in Tehran say Araghchi's remarks may serve multiple purposes. First, to signal restraint, showing Iran is not seeking confrontation. Second, to reassert Russia's role as a trusted intermediary between adversaries. And third, to remind Western capitals that while Washington dominates peace talks, Moscow still wields influence in the region's shadow diplomacy. Inside the Russian embassy compound, diplomats have reportedly maintained a near-constant line with Iran's foreign ministry. In past crises, from Syria to the Gulf tanker incidents, Russia has positioned itself as a communication bridge, ensuring no single provocation triggers all-out war. For Netanyahu, whose government faces political strains at home, a new conflict with Iran would risk unraveling fragile security gains. By using Moscow to deliver the message, Israel could maintain plausible deniability while quietly seeking calm. Araghchi emphasized that Tehran is analyzing the message carefully, neither accepting it as reassurance nor dismissing it outright. He added that actions, not words, will determine whether Israel truly intends to de-escalate. Iran and Israel have fought a long shadow war, one defined by sabotage, airstrikes, and cyber campaigns, rather than open battle. Each side's red lines are tested in proxy theaters, from Syria's skies to Lebanon's border and the Gulf's shipping lanes. Regional observers tell AFP this message may mark the first tacit acknowledgement by Israel of limits to its military options. With US attention fixed on Gaza's fragile ceasefire and Russia seeking stability before its own elections, neither Moscow nor Tel Aviv can afford another Middle Eastern flashpoint. If verified, this exchange highlights a rare triangle of communication: Israel, Russia, and Iran, bypassing Western mediation altogether. For Iran, it reinforces its claim of diplomatic relevance despite sanctions and isolation. For Russia, it reasserts its role as power broker amid the chaos. However, skepticism runs deep. Opposition media and Persian language outlets abroad, such as BBC Persian and Iran International, are restricted from airing the clip but have questioned its credibility, suggesting Tehran may be projecting calm for domestic audiences while still preparing for contingencies. Meanwhile, Iranian Revolutionary Guard commanders continue to speak of deterrence. In a separate interview, they reiterated that Iran remains fully prepared for any aggression, even as diplomacy unfolds. That dual message, openness to dialogue, readiness for defense, has long defined Tehran's posture. On Tehran's streets, reactions range from cautious relief to deep suspicion. Many Iranians recall previous messages of peace that led to nothing. Yet some view the statement as a rare moment where diplomacy briefly overtook rhetoric. Whether this moment signals de-escalation or mere diplomatic theatre remains unclear. But for now, one fact stands. Even amid the turbulence of Middle Eastern politics, quiet channels, often invisible to the public, continue to carry the weight of war and peace. Apparently, 3 or 4 days ago, there was a telephone call between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Russian President Vladimir Putin. The next morning, our ambassador was summoned to the presidency, and the same points were conveyed to us, that Netanyahu emphasized that he had no intention of restarting a war with Iran.
جنگ مجدد با ایران رو نداره و قصد درگیری مجدد رو نداره.